The White House realized pretty quickly that reporters were willing to call out President Trump on his lies right to his face, which is very likely why the president has not held a solo news conference in a remarkable 309 days. And while he's given at least 20 interviews to Fox, the president has not sat for an interview with a non-conservative media outlet since he spoke to NBC's Lester Holt in May and opened himself up to charges of obstruction of justice by admitting he fired James Comey while thinking about the Russia probe. With me now, Bob Garfield, co-host of WNYC's On the Media. Bob, all politicians shade the truth in different ways. All politicians lie sometimes. There is a difference, it seems to me, here in this president in the casualness with which the White House generally regards the truth. What do you think? Casualness and constantness. They have a blatant, I would say, depraved disregard for the truth and equally for the First Amendment. And they lie, and then attack the press, and it is something to behold. You know, there's a worry about the sort of creeping authoritarian perspective of this White House, the fake news, the constant undermining of the free press. And then there are others who say this is them just trash talking. Which side of that are you on? Well, yeah, it is trash talking. I'm trash talking the Trump regime because they are a disgrace, and they live and breathe lies every day. That is their fuel. And it is not as though they're politicians caught in a fib or an overpromise or a misrepresentation. They are all lies all the time. And it's not just the president. It is his succession of spokespeople. It is his circle. It is his supporters in the Congress, and most especially, it is the right-wing media, and led by Fox News, which has long since ceased to even have pretension to actual journalism. It's just a hit team for what we used to call the lunatic fringe. What does it say to you? I mean, one of the things I think that distinguishes this president from previous presidents is conservative media has always been there. Fox News is decades old. This president seems to consume that almost exclusively as the way he gets information about the world. So it would appear, and it's not just that he's a consumer, he's also a contributor. And there seems to be, and it's been actually quite well documented, a reciprocal effect, a symbiosis. He watches the likes of Fox and Friends and Sean Hannity and repeats the misinformation and disinformation he gets from them. And equally, he sends them shout-outs and puffs them up for their audience. And it's pretty ugly. It is pure political propaganda. Not that the rest of cable news and broadcast news is blameless, but what has become of Fox News is genuinely terrifying. There was a critique that I think I heard you enunciate during the campaign that many did about the way that Trump was covered, the sort of lack of attention to policy detail, the kind of obsessive deference to him as an attentional figure. Do you think the press has learned from the campaign? Is the performance at large better in year one of the administration than it was during the campaign? Oh, it's by several orders of magnitude better in many respects. The deference has more or less evaporated, and the press's willingness to be his tool and his platform has diminished, and now they're confronting him. They're being the adversarial press that the founders envisioned. I would say that the so-called print press, what used to be the print press, is doing a spectacular job reporting on the administration in all of its dimensions, not just the Russia probe, but the dismantling of the structures of government. You know, he came to drain the swamp, and right now it's a pool party at Caligula's. And the cable news has been kind of typically crappy at it. They're breathless and focused almost entirely on the investigation to the exclusion of the other very real damage that is being done to the democracy.
That's not entirely true, but I think it's largely true. And then, of course, there's Fox in this separate category altogether of being just sort of an arch propagandist network.
There was a long period of time, to take the Watergate analogy, there was a long period of time when a huge part of the country paid no attention to it. And then they did, and ultimately it persuaded the country. Nixon was at 23% by the time he left. Do you think those same conditions hold now?
I think it's happening. I think if you look at the popularity polls of the president and his policies, the tax bill, for example, we're seeing a gradual erosion in the support for him and the level of trust. But I pay much more